friends, welcome back, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Stacy and I am the Chapter Conundrum, and in today's video I want to talk about authors that I want to try for the first time. So one of the things I noticed when I was preparing my answers for my mid-year freakout tag video is that I haven't actually gone and tried many new to me authors this year, but there are a lot that I am very eager to try. And I think part of the reason that I haven't been trying as many is a good thing. It's because one of my goals is always to read through and finish out some dang series. So get to sequels, prioritize finishing those series before starting new ones. And that's a trend that you'll see here today, because I think every author I mentioned, like every single one on my list today is the start of a new series. So I've been trying to be disciplined and putting off starting new series, but also like it sucks because I desperately want to read so many of these and just haven't gotten there yet. But yeah, we're going to talk about some of them today, so buckle up. The first one I'm going to pull out of the sack and talk about today is The Final Strife by Sarah L. Arifi. And I know she has another popular adult series, I forget the name of it right now, but this one has me more intrigued because it leans towards my buzzwords a little bit more. So I know that there are some trials to pick like the next leader of this place, and I also know that this is pretty dystopian and that there are different classes in society. And essentially we have kids that were switched at birth. So we have some of like the upper class eligible to be entered in the competition raised with some of the lower class. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see the dynamics of this world, how everything is going, and the trials. All of that sort of plays into things I like. And I definitely have heard good things about this from people with similar taste to me, so I'm definitely looking forward to getting to it. The next series I'm really keen on picking up is The Eden Saga by Justin Lee Anderson, starting with The Lost War. And this one just has a lot of vibes that are kind of calling to me and a really interesting premise. So I know that this won a SPIFBO before it was picked up and traditionally published, which also has me curious because some of my other all-time favorite books are SPIFBO winners, think like Sword of Kaigen. But this one, definitely we're dealing with the ramifications of a war that this realm has assumedly lost. I know that it follows a king's envoy, and he's kind of on a mission to restore an exiled foreign queen to her throne, but also that this is going to deal heavily with consequences of war, conspiracies, and basically the tagline is the war is over, but peace can be hell. So this definitely is going to play into a lot of things that I tend to enjoy reading about. We're going to uncover lies, conspiracies. We have a ragtag group of characters, presumably interesting magic because our main character is a mage. And yeah, this should be a really good time for me when I finally get the chance to pick it up. Next up, I'm going to veer away from fantasy just for a minute and talk about The Housemaid by Freida McFadden. I have yet to read any of her books, despite how wildly popular she's become lately. But this is one that my husband had a really great time with. And I purposely don't want to know a ton about this going in, but I just know that people with similar thriller taste to me, such as my husband and other friends and booktubers that I follow, have really enjoyed, especially this first book in the series. So that has me extra curious, and I definitely want to get to this at some point soon. The only thing I really do know about this one is that there are characters that have secrets. I'm assuming that could be one of many, many things, and that you're following a housemaid, obviously. But yeah, should be a really good time. Going back to fantasy with another competition book, this one more in the vein of fantasy romance. We're going to talk about The Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. And I also think I'm going to have a really good time with her other series. But since I own this one and since it's shorter, I'm going to start with this one. But yeah, from what I know of this, we're going to have fantasy romance. I think it's enemies to lovers. I know it involves vampires, and that we have a competition held by the goddess of death. So like all of that is something that says, okay, I'm probably going to have a good time with this. It's going to be a really easy read to get through that I'm going to want to like desperately binge to know what happens. I'm pretty sure there's going to be some high stakes and some tension with like a romance within a deadly competition, or I'm assuming a deadly competition, some kind of competition with high stakes at least. And I also feel like since this competition is for a throne, we're going to get some like politics unfolding within the sequel. All of that is stuff that I know I'm gonna have a good time with, and I am really excited to get to this. Next up is a series that some of my friends have enjoyed that they think I'm going to have a good time with, and I don't know a ton about it, but I am curious based on what I do know and based on the fact that my friends think I'm gonna like it, and that is War for the Rose Throne. First book being Priest of Bones by Peter McLean. And I do know that this deals with the ramifications of a war that is over or ending, So yeah, that definitely has me intrigued. I'm assuming there's going to be a lot of political intrigue in here because I know that it follows sort of like the leader of a crime organization of some type. I don't know if that like crime organization is more going to have vibes in terms of things like Locke Lamora or like Greenbone Saga, maybe a mashup of both, or maybe neither. But I'm definitely very curious to check this out and think I'm going to have a great time with it when I do. Another author that has written a trilogy that plays with one of my all-time favorite tropes that I know has excellent pacing based on this trope is The Obsidian Path by Michael R. Fletcher. So a lot of my friends who have similar grimdark taste to me think I'm going to enjoy this, and I definitely agree, not only because I know that it's grimdark and emotional and heartfelt, but also because this deals heavily with the amnesia trope. Our main character is on some type of quest and is recovering his lost memories along the way. And for me, that is always a win in a book, because I love when a book gives you things to wonder about and you slowly get to uncover more and more answers towards like the bigger scheme of things, and you get to have theories along the way, and you're constantly like learning new things to contribute to this big puzzle you're trying to put together, but also you have like a pretty good indication of what's happening up front and what they're experiencing in the moment. And that definitely is like one of the biggest reasons I love the amnesia trope. But another thing I really enjoy is slowly uncovering a character's backstory, especially when their history is not happy. I love exploring why events have made someone the way they are. Why is it that they are responding the way that they do to something? And definitely this series is going to play into those types of things. And another series that I can think of, it'll be different vibes completely, but also like grimdark, plays with the amnesia trope, and exploring characters' backstory, is Broken Empire by Mark Lawrence. But yeah, I don't think this character is at all like Jorg. I think like Jorg is more of a villainous character. I think this is going to be somebody more you can root for. But we'll see. And I definitely think that this is going to be excellent when I get the chance to read it. Another author I am like desperately curious to try out is Andy Pelequin. And there are several reasons for this. I know he writes a long assassin fantasy series called Darkblade. I have tended to really enjoy darker tone assassin fantasy in the past with things like Night Angel. And I also have followed him a little bit on Instagram and kind of learned that his tastes in books and in reading are very similar to mine. So he loves things like the Red Rising series. He loves when authors and books don't pull their punches and kind of hurt the reader a little bit. Another funny discussion I had, I found out he likes Bloody Rose more than Kings of the Wild, which is also me because of the more like serious tone that one has over Kings of the Wild. So there's just a lot of things where I know like our tastes align, and so it has me very curious, okay, what has he written then if our tastes align so well? Like I'm probably going to really enjoy reading what he's crafted. So yeah, I definitely need to try this one out at some point soon. The next one I want to talk about is Gunmetal Gods by Zamil Akhtar. And this is one that I'm very curious about, but I don't know a ton about it going in. I have had several friends with similar tastes to me in different areas really enjoy this one. So I'm thinking like Fina over from Fina Reads. If you have seen her talk about this, you'll know exactly what I mean. But also other friends that I have just known from different Discord reading communities that don't have platforms. From what I know of this, it's kind of darker in tone. It's sort of inspired by Middle Eastern Crusades, has some very brutal violence, morally gray characters, and mysterious magic, and all of that sounds like a winning combination for me. It also will be interesting for me to read a series where maybe like we're meshing kind of newer technology with guns and ammunition with sort of like more historical context. But yeah, I'm definitely very curious about this one and predict that I will like it. And then I have two more authors to talk about today, and both are situations where I'm interested in multiple books and multiple series by them, and also have been recommended multiple books and multiple series by them from friends that know my reading taste and that have similar reading taste to me. So the first one I want to talk about is Bernard Cornwell, and I know he writes kind of like more in the vein of historical fiction, not necessarily as much in fantasy, but I tend to really enjoy like military fantasy from that sort of time period. And I also really enjoy King Arthur retellings. And from what I've heard, his work combines kind of both of those things, or like different books of his deal with those things. And one of the friends that I have the most similar taste to has told me like this is a favorite of his for many years, and I should probably give it a go just based on the fact that our tastes are so similar and that those things are things that I'll tend to enjoy. So like I said, I don't know a ton about his work, but I am very curious based on what I have heard and what I do know. So I definitely need to give him a go at some point. And then the last author on my list is Rob J. Hayes. And I will probably end up starting with Mortal Techniques because I do own that trilogy on audio. But the one that I think has my curiosity the most piqued based on what I actually know of it is the War Eternal series, so Along the Razor's Edge. From what I know of this, it follows a female main character who is like refusing to give up. She has had awful things happen. She's a prisoner of war who's been stripped of her magic, but she is determined and is gonna make things happen. I do also know that this one follows like events after a war, which we've already discussed is something that has me very curious. I tend to really enjoy like dystopian and political intrigue and brewing rebellion, and also like characters dealing with ramifications of things that they did not handle the best or make the best decisions with, or just things that have happened to them in the past. So definitely this one sounds like it's going to be up my alley, and I've been specifically recommended Mortal Techniques as well. So yeah, definitely need to give Rob J. Hayes a go at some point soon. So that was it for authors that I have not yet tried that I think I'm going to have an excellent time with once I finally get there. Let me know down below in the comments if you have read any of these and you know my taste, or based on what I had to say in this video, where do you think I should start on this list? What are you most excited for me to check out, or what do you think I will have the best time with? And also be sure to let me know, what are authors in this category for you? Like, what are some authors that you haven't tried yet that you're really curious to, that you think you're gonna have a great time with? Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe on your way out if you want to, and have a great day. Bye.